Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Maybe before L.O.P says something, honourable members, kindly, this is a festival season. Just imagine when you're driving, everybody out there is not okay. He's also rushing for something else. Let's drive carefully. We almost lost a member this weekend, and the member has been hospitalized.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I want to join you firstly in commiserating with our colleague who was involved in an accident. Sadly, I learned somebody passed on in that car. We pray that he recuperates soon, our colleague, so he can rejoin us. Honourable Speaker, I also want to welcome you back as you welcome us back from a mini recess of sorts. I see a lot has changed here. The lights are very bright. I am hoping these are the kind of lights that cannot be switched off. Because the last time we were here, all of a sudden it became dark and there was fire and brimstone here. So I'm glad the lights are brighter. Hopefully they'll remain brighter and that they are the kind which cannot be switched off. Unfortunately, though, Right Honourable Speaker, normally I'm able to see my friend, the Prime Minister, and we have some chats across. Now there is a wall. I'm not able to see the Prime Minister very easily. Normally I'm close to the Speaker. Now the Speaker has been taken the other side. There's lots of changes which we are trying to get used to. But I'm glad we are back. I also want to welcome back our colleagues, the media, who are part of us as an institution. Rule 31 provides for the fact that the public ought to follow the goings on here because we deliberate here on behalf of the public. And the only way they can follow is when the media is present. Last time they were not. Right Honourable Speaker, I have two very quick issues for your ruling. They're slightly unrelated, but I'll make them quick. One of those, Right Honourable Speaker, is I'm seeking through your office that government would help us understand something that's seemingly convoluted of late. Ugandans travel within the East African community, and it should be freely anyhow. But government has severally been picking people, especially from Kenya, who have traveled. The first lot went for a training. They were picked and brought back. Most recently, a senior opposition leader in this country, your former leader, Right Honourable Speaker, Dr. Kizza Besigye, was picked from Nairobi, Kenya, by Ugandan security operatives who brought him here, and now he's before the court-martial. Many things confused me, even as a lawyer, that I thought government would probably elucidate on, so that we have a good understanding. Even those of us who are trying to understand the legalities, to know on behalf of the country how this gets to happen, that it can be okay for people to continuously be picked from a neighboring country. I heard one of the issues they were raising was he was found with a gun in Kenya, and I kept thinking, but jurisdiction-wise, that doesn't work. It should be Kenya to complain. So many questions, and yet the answers are too few. I thought government would help us understand. Has this become the modus operandi? As citizens who normally travel to these other countries?
Honourable L.O.P, as I had already said, there is a statement to that effect coming from Honourable Ssemujju, and he actually served it to my office.
Thank you. I'm glad my colleague, who, by the way, just returned from jail, I'm on procedure, Honourable, and procedure takes precedence, sir. Thank you very much. As I was saying, Honourable Ssemujju is a victim, so he will have a lot to share with us. But I thought I should throw that out, and my colleague will elucidate. The second issue, which will be the final issue, Right Honourable Speaker, on 6th of November we were here deliberating on a couple of things for the good of our people. Right Honourable Speaker, I made certain remarks, especially in reference to remarks you had made during the coffee bill discussion, and I said that in my considered view, the remarks which had been made by yourself were tribal, in my considered view. Honorable Speaker, you said that you will only apologize, and you challenged me, and I took up the challenge. You said that you can only apologize if I table evidence showing that you made remarks which were tribal, in my view. I thought, who am I to be challenged by the Speaker, and I don't follow through. Honorable Speaker, I have carried some evidence which I want to table. You will look at it and examine it. It's both on CD and flash disk, which has got videos.
Where is the origin of that?
Of remarks that you made.
Where is the origin of that?
The origin is the national broadcaster, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. But, Honorable Speaker, you will examine them and you'll give your ruling.
M.i.S.O.
Yes, right, Honorable Speaker.
Don't go on a fishing expedition.
No, I am not.
Because when you get what is being broadcasted there, it is not what I have said. The broadcaster is broadcasting its own things. It is not, if you want, go to the Hansard. That is, go to the Hansard and get it from there, and it will be authentic. And I can assure you, once you have it and it is authentic, this country has my apology.
But most obliged. That's why I said, you see, even in court, we table evidence, and then there can be a ruling on the evidence. So when you asked me for evidence, I have just executed my duty to table it. You're going to examine it, Right Honorable Speaker. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker,
Honorable Member, incidentally, that statement of yours that day was expunged from the Hansard because there was nobody to elaborate on it, and you had already left the house. But going back to coffee bill, you've gone back to the coffee bill. Actually, the coffee prices have gone up.
Right, Honorable Speaker, as I wrap up.
Honorable members, what Honorable Ssemujju wants to raise, first give him time.
Let me just wrap up and my colleague comes on. I'm just wrapping up, Right Honorable Speaker, with the final issue. And you have actually mentioned what I wanted to say, that, Honorable Speaker, you expunged remarks from the Hansard about a claim that I made of security operatives raiding the chambers of parliament after the media was chased away, lights switched off, and our colleagues, including women, were bundled up by men and all of that. And I said, Right Honorable Speaker, who are these? Who, in my view, were security operatives? And you said that that was a defamatory statement because these were not operatives. I said, well, good enough, the Speaker is our leader here. There are cameras here who can help us understand who raided this place, who manhandled Honorable Aisha and all the other people that were manhandled. And again, I know that there are cameras in here, but I said I'll still put it on recording. I have a CD here and a flash disk of people who raided these, our chambers, and manhandled people for you to examine and help us understand who were these. Because even right now, Right Honorable Speaker, you have said you don't know who these were. That actually worried me the most. Because you are the head of this institution, you are our leader, and our safety is to a greater extent your responsibility. So if my Speaker does not know who raided this place and manhandled members of parliament, I am actually very worried. And I'm hoping that, Honorable Speaker, you'll follow it up because the evidence is here, as I have tabled it, for you to follow up and help us understand. Because if my Speaker doesn't know, then who knows? I thank you.
Honorable L.O.P, that evidence is not admissible. What is admissible is an official report. That is under Rule 228. What you could do, please write to the Clerk of Parliament and ask the Clerk of Parliament for all the all what happened in the press seats of Parliament on that day. So please do that.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you. The colleague raising a point of procedure, I told you he is our neighbor in my village. He has not been able to shed off his old habits of RDCs. Madam Speaker, this statement...
Give us the statement.
This statement, Madam Speaker, on abduction of Dr. Kizza Besigye from Nairobi, Kenya on November 16, 2024. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, I am presenting this statement in line with Rule 25 L and M 59 and 64. Right Honourable Speaker, Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, former Forum for Democratic Change President, four-time presidential candidate, and now one of the promoters of the People's Front for Freedom, was abducted from Nairobi, Kenya on November 16, 2024. He had traveled to Nairobi on the invitation of NARC Kenya political party leader and former Kenyan Justice Minister Martha Karua. Dr. Besigye was scheduled to speak at Martha Karua's book Against the Tide launch. He, together with Ajobedi Lutare Kamuregeya, a senior PFF leader, was abducted from a riverside apartment in Eastland, where he was attending a brief meeting before proceeding for dinner for Karua's book launch guests. He was then driven across borders by his captors. His passports, national ID, wallet, and other belongings remained at Warid Hotel, where he had been booked in. Dr. Besigye did not, or was not made to undergo immigration protocols on the Kenyan or Ugandan immigration sides. News of his missing started circulating 3 days after his abduction on Tuesday, November 19th. Right Honourable Speaker and members, Dr. Besigye was then miraculously arraigned before a military disciplinary committee, commonly known as court martial, on Wednesday, November 20th. Charges of possession of 2 pistols, which were learned that day that is a monopoly of UPDF, were read to him and his co-accused. They also charged with holding meetings in Switzerland, Greece, and Nairobi for purposes of undermining the security of Uganda. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, the abduction of Dr. Besigye has been condemned widely by the UN, lawyers, human rights defenders, democracy-seeking organizations, and individuals. Even the Uganda Human Rights Commission has condemned this abduction and demanded for Besigye's immediate release. I call upon you, Madam Speaker, and the House to join the world in condemning this heinous crime of abduction. Condemned because there are laws, international and domestic, that govern extradition and deportation. The Ugandan, Kenyan, and international laws were all in this case not followed. Only criminals can do this. You may not be concerned with Besigye, but be concerned with the state continuing to act criminally. I want to emphasize that point. You may not be concerned with Besigye, but you should be concerned with the state continuing to act criminally. Madam Speaker, I raised the issue of the 36 PFF members that were abducted from Kisumu in this House. They were handcuffed and driven across borders in similar manner. The 3 women who were part of this group were not allowed to ease themselves for 14 hours. When they were finally allowed, it is male soldiers that were pulling their knickers and ordered them to urinate as they remained handcuffed. They were later charged with terrorism. Madam Speaker and members, we are concerned with the continuing human rights violations by the NRM government, including ministers working in jails and making people to confess to crimes they have not committed, and then getting the NRM chairman to pardon them. All these things concern us, and they should concern every MP. This parliament should also demand for an explanation from Kenya. Even Chris was abducted. I went to see him at Ginger Road. They had denied him simple things, including slippers, that giant you see there. This parliament, Madam Speaker, should also demand for an explanation from Kenya. You know, he was representing us in finding out how the Honorable Nevanda died. They charged him with stealing body parts.
Is that a part of your statement?
No, I was reminding him to sit down and listen to the statement. It is not part of the statement.
Maybe you wanted to compliment on what...
I am sorry, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker and members, we are concerned with the continuing human rights violations by the NRM government. This must stop. We demand for an explanation from government, Madam Speaker. This parliament should also demand for an explanation from Kenya whether it still subscribes to the East African Community Brotherhood. The ministers of internal affairs, who heads immigration, foreign affairs, and defense, Madam Speaker, must be made to explain to this parliament this incident and to the country. Madam Speaker, I thank you very much.
Thank you.